Besides snow did take quite a bit of time because we had a lot of, some different engineering aspects, some geotechnical, some things like that, when doing comparisons of siphon. There's really no comparison, so we have a lot of other, things we gotta go through with funding agencies, DEQ, different granting.
Is that package about ready to go?
It's getting close, so we're getting closer on it. So we have, more boxes, to check off as we go through this. It takes some time. And then we have our next project we're working on, Darrell, pre-design is in 23 and notice to proceed is to be determined. We're hoping that we can move forward with that, this summer sometime, if the stars align, so to speak.
Andy, excuse me for interruption, could you explain to the audience what the project is?
Yeah, Northeast Darrell, we're gonna be, kind of piggybacking off of our last project, which was a lease site project. So we have a section of roadway from Jordan down to Suxdorf that, is in dire straits. The sewer line is outlived its useful life. We'll deal with some paving, a little bit of storm work. It's approximately about 600 feet or so of storm sewer. So we're looking forward to that. So we have an estimate of 387,000 roughly for that project. We'll see when those numbers come back, when we actually get closer. We're hoping, if you recall on the west side, we had 5 contractors that were interested in the west side, and we had 1 bid on it. So it's pretty tight on that one, but they were good. Kratar did it. They did a great job. But,
That's good.
anyway, just want to kind of give council some of the timeframes of what we're looking at. So, happy to answer any questions that they have.
So the Corps of Engineers said that we didn't have to worry about doing anything on the site project.
Which is good. Yeah, we got a couple good comments back on that. And now going through all the cross cutters and everything else that we're working through.
So who are we waiting for? Is there like something with, Fish and Wildlife or something we're waiting for?
Yeah, I think Thomas has got that covering some of that.
Okay.
Later.
Okay, any questions for Andy? By the way, nice job getting the streets all marked out for the rain, for the tree lighting. That was good. By the way, you too, Chief, thanks for all that you guys did there. That was, good shot. Okay, thank you, Andy. Thomas, Public Administration and Planning, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the audience. A couple things. The first thing, in concert with the timelines that Andy was sharing in regards to some of our projects, the largest by far and away from a budgetary and from an infrastructure standpoint is our sanitary sewer siphon. Collects all of our wastewater in one location and puts it underneath the South Upper River before it discharges into the plant. It's outlived its useful life. It was built in '78, and so essentially we've been going through, and this started 3 years ago. We all know that, those of us who've been a part of this process, whenever you're dealing with plant, aquatic, natural features, there's always some additional provisions, a significant amount of additional provisions. So just to give you kind of broad strokes, with the idea of providing somewhat of a timeline that essentially is always a moving target, but to give you a general timeline, we have started our process with the Department of Environmental Quality. We were cleared through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. They don't require a permit, which is a big victory. We can't speak enough on that victory, because that would take another year to do analyses and get through all of that. So we've been cleared through them. We've also been cleared through the Department of State Lands, who governs wetlands. So we're not going to be disturbing or encroaching. One thing that we haven't addressed that'll be part of our DEQ funding package requirements would be the National Marine and Fisheries, which is NIMS. And they've been contacted on what type of analysis will be sufficient. That could take 6 to 8 months, that type of analysis, if we need to do one. The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, or ODF&W, they've been contacted in regard, usually we cover their requirements when we submit for the Corps of Engineer and DSL joint permit. So it's possible that they cleared us too, but our engineering outfit is fleshing that out. The Department of Historic Preservation Office, or SHPO, to discount any kind of archaeological artifacts or anything that might be discovered, which is typically, if you find something during construction, if you find an artifact, stop, call the SHPO office, they have to investigate, there's those types of things. So we may have to have a study on that, that could take 6 months. And then, of course, the floodplain certification that is well underway. We've had that one under review for some time, and the engineering company, West Consultants, is well on their way to doing that hydraulic model. So, all things accounted for, worst case scenario, we could be through a bidding and into a construction process, summer 2025.
So it's a speedy process is what we're trying to.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Very speedy process, and.
So that's the worst case scenario, what's the best case?
Well,
Tuesday?
well, that would be preferred.
Yeah.
If we don't face some of these additional environmental encumbrances or analysis, then we could be looking at the spring or summer of, or the fall of next year, towards flushing out a bidding package, but that is a very optimistic timetable. In that regard. Happy to take any questions on the siphon. I want to commend Public Works. They've been really the anchor on this project, understanding that how important it is. If those pipes fail, they collect all the wastewater. And we don't just got a problem in the city where people can't flush their toilets. We also have a river environmental problem, right? So it's high priority everywhere, which is why it's number one on our capital improvement plan. So we're really spearheading that and doing the best we can to push it forward.
I would rather have a hill.
But you don't have a septic, do you?
Yeah.
You still discharge it.
I thought that was my neighbor's house. Any more questions for Thomas?
I have one more thing to bring
Okay.
before the body of the council. Really quickly, if you can recall some time back, we passed a camping ordinance that ran in concert with state legislation that required us to do so. There was a House Bill 3115 that required us to address how the homelessness were habitating public spaces. So that was passed. There were options that were given. The city, of course, used our option to pass an ordinance to regulate time, place, and manner. That's some of the historical relevance on that. The attorney that assisted all the cities, including ours, Aaron Heisel, very helpful. He sent a follow-up email a week ago giving some updates on the litigation that's happening in larger cities around. So there's only 3 that merit some special attention. The first one, Duncan versus City of Portland. This one is in regards to their daytime camping ban. And it's being challenged because it's considered unreasonable under the statute because some homeless individuals have to sleep during the day because they have graveyard shifts. It's being challenged in that regard. It's also being challenged on another minor case that because the maps that were published are confusing and not available to some people experiencing homelessness because they don't have internet access. So that's also being flushed out. That's Duncan versus Portland. That case may come up again. We're just keeping our eyes on it because it's going to provide new case law and clarify how the process is supposed to be orchestrated. The second one is Bordeaux versus City of Medford. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And this one's a little more minor in nature. It is challenging what they define as established campsites. Medford defines an established campsite as you're setting up at a location 5 days or more. That's being challenged. And so that was brought to our attention by the attorney. The last one is the one that we've heard about since the beginning of the entire process, and that's Blake Johnson versus Grants Pass. And there have been 120 groups, individuals behind 20 different states that have came forward trying to gain some clarification. And that far, there's only 9 states in the 9th Circuit Court of Appeal. So that falls way beyond just our circuit. So that's probably, if the Supreme Court decides to hear it, they will likely hear oral arguments summer of 2024. So next year.
I thought they refused to do that.
Not as of now,
Mhm.
unless there's something new.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was the.
They're petitioning-
That was the Newport thing, never mind.
They're petitioning, that might be the recreational trainers
Right.
one. So they're petitioning for a certification to be heard. If it's granted, then they'll hear oral arguments December 2020. How does this affect Oregon? It doesn't, because we have a House bill now that governs how we have to,
Until it
regulate.
gets challenged.
Yes, until it gets changed. So just keeping tabs on those, because we do have an ordinance in place and it may affect in some regard. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. McIntosh. Any questions for Thomas? Great, okay, on the new business, see any possibility for council workshops before January?
No, Your Honor, but we do recommend a URA meeting, Thursday, the 14th at 5 p.m. to entertain the installation of the signs.
Fellow URA board members, or we should probably speak to the board chairman or president as it is. For the 14th at 5.
I'm making a hurry with
Can we phone it in? Well,
If there's some unavailability, we can always get a new quote and we can push it to
all
January.
you need is quorum, right?
Yep. Just do-
Thank you. Two things. B on this is the staff Christmas party and holiday gift cards. The staff Christmas party is Thursday at noon.
The 7th, from 2 to 4. At the community center.
Oh, 2 to 4.
Okay, correct.
I'd have been early. Oh, no, you don't understand.